Radio.
Hello, friends. Welcome to this week's show. It is January 30th, 2019. This is Molly McCord. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining me as every Wednesday we talk about the astrology and energies of right now and over the week ahead. We have a dynamic energies coming through right now with the Sun at 10 degrees of Aquarius and a conjunction with Mercury at 10 degrees of Aquarius. This makes life busier, more active, more ideas, more conversations, perhaps more text messages, more emails, more going on, because that Mercury energy is receiving the light of the Sun. And the Sun is warmth, energy. It's the ability to see something in a whole new way. It helps us understand what our priorities are, and it gets us going. So the conjunction of the Sun and Mercury, the middle of this week, brings us back to our energies and opens us up to new energies, new solutions, new possibilities that we didn't see before. Mercury was traveling behind the Sun for a while due to its retrograde. Now that it's met up with the Sun and it gets that sunburst, it travels forward and we have new information to take forward. Mercury is information. It's how we speak. It's how we learn. It's how we communicate. So we have this sense of things picking up the pace in our minds, in our mouths, as we need to get out there and connect with more people. It's an energizing time. So we're going to talk about what's happening right now and how you might be feeling it in your life, in your world, in your energy field. Thank you for joining me. Those of you who are brand new to the program, welcome. I hope that this gives you some insights into your own energy and to what you need right now. And those of you who have listened for a number of years, welcome back, and thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate your presence every week. A few quick announcements. As I've shared before, I'm now offering a weekly astrology transits class where every week you look at your chart and the transits and you see what's going on as I explain it more in a way that helps you put some pieces together about what's showing up in your life, what the themes are, what the opportunities are, as well as where you could just be more conscious about something that sets you free. So the weekly astrology transits class is now live. It's live every Wednesday, but there are replays available of every class. Information is available to you below this show, and I hope that it helps you with a continuation of your astrological studies and knowledge. I also have an introductory astrology course. If you're brand new, if you want to learn to read your chart, you will love this class because you're going to learn so much that puts the pieces together. And I hope that that helps you understand your life better, your life passions, your life mission, what you're healing, how you're growing, all kinds of good stuff. And then another class, the astrology of relationships, more advanced, more intermediate. We talk about house rulerships. We talk about all the areas of life that represent different relationships in your chart. A great way to continue to know what the heck is going on in your life and how it shows up in your chart. So it's a joy to connect with you through this language of astrology, and I'm excited how many people are interested in astrology right now. This is part of the age of Aquarius. We are in the age of Aquarius, and these energies become more active with the Sun in Aquarius. So right now, the Sun in Aquarius is opening us up at a collective level to see things differently, to see metaphysics, such as astrology, as useful tools, to see science, to see solutions, to see humanity in a different way. Aquarius is how humanity is moving forward. It's how we evolve. It's how we go into new places. We go further than we've been before. We go beyond what we've known, and we understand that there's new solutions or possibilities that maybe we've had no idea even existed. And so it's an exciting time when you think about all the new things we have yet to discover, and that can help us stay open to our life's possibilities. We've been talking a lot about how things have been clearing out in a very deep way. Things have been moving through us. You've been letting go. You've had to let some things go, perhaps against your will. You've had to get out of your humanness and maybe step into more of your soul energy or your higher self's energy. There's an understanding deep within each of us, our own unique cosmic brilliance comes through during Aquarian energies. We get opened up to bigger forces, bigger possibilities, bigger energies that we can choose to work with or choose not to. There's always free will. But there are invitations and opportunities to think of your life in a new way with the Aquarian energies, to think more creatively, to think outside the box. But heck, who even needs a box? You take apart the box, you dismantle it. Who needs the box, right? It's like, what can we change, revolutionize that supports what's truly needed right now? So the Sun in Aquarius and Mercury in Aquarius, plus living in the age of Aquarius, is all about the way forward and what's next. And to remember that even when things have been challenging and hard, when you've had to let go, when you've had to do a lot of deep healing work, the universe, God, Spirit, Source, whatever you call it, is infinite in its possibilities and potentials and creativity. That the universe and God can think, and not even think, because thinking would take too long, can manifest more than we could possibly consider. And our human mind, it can feel limited and stuck, and we only see certain possibilities, but we're meant to stay open to how a perfect life can unfold in many ways. And that we all have assumptions or expectations and attachments of what that looks like, of what it means to be successful, what it means to be out there in the world, what I want in my life. And when those structures and energies fall apart, when things change, when they move through us, there will always be something new. There will always be something else that will be a better fit, a better representation of who you are and where you're going next. So the universe can always dream a bigger dream and can always bring more in than we can imagine once we're willing to let everything else that's expired, finished, complete, leave. And that's been a big energy since the eclipses of last summer. And then we just had our eclipses here in January. And now we're moving to a new moon on February 4th. It's at 15 degrees of Aquarius. And it's asking you to open up to a new vision of your life, to the new dream, the next possibility, the next way forward, to look up beyond even what has captured your attention, either out of necessity, out of responsibility, out of all the things we have to take care of in a day. This is a bigger viewpoint of where you can go, of where your life can go, of what you can experience. It's an expansive energy. It's very uplifting. It's very dynamic. There's a lot right now in the sky of moving us forward. Not only do we have the buzzy energies of Aquarius, we have a lot of fire right now. Mars and Uranus in Aries, Jupiter and Venus in Sagittarius. As I do this show live on January 30th, the moon is in Sagittarius too. So the fire energies move us forward with gusto, give us a new sense of motivation, inspiration, what's possible, what I want, what I'm going to go for, feeling energized. Moves us forward. So we're getting this push as we move out of eclipse season and this new moon comes in, where can you go next? And what can you stay open to? Because this is a new energy. This is new possibilities. And how can you stay in the realms of anything is possible, anything can transpire? You know, the 5D energies are amazing for manifesting instantly. Be very clear with your intentions at this new moon on Monday, February 4th. Be very solid in what you believe is possible for your life. Write it down, ground it, do something that makes it clear for you, because this is an opening energy. There's a lot of openings here. And it's a good way to remember that life continues on. You know, that life moves us forward, that we're meant to keep moving forward. And yes, we have to let things go and we have to do our work, and some things are hard. Absolutely. But this is a new moon. This is an energy time of things moving forward. And all planets are direct. All planets are moving forward. All energies are moving forward. So it's so clear that the green lights are happening. And we talk about divine timing. Well, there's divine timing happening now to move us into this next phase of life and of what we're here to experience, as well as what's best for humanity, what's best for the collective. This is also the age of Aquarius themes, and the Sun and Mercury in Aquarius make these themes bigger, such as teamwork makes the dream work, and all for one and one for all. You know, all the cliches about teams are all Aquarian energies, which is interesting because Aquarius is also the individual, where you're saying, oh, well, I'll do this on my own, or I've got this, I know who I am, I'm clear in my self-identity and my self-concept, and I know who I am. So Aquarius is the collective and the individual, and how these parts of ourselves interact, where you're a part of some groups, but you're still yourself, and you have to be yourself in those groups. You can't, it's looking at how we allow other identities to perhaps take over our self-identity. Well, Aquarius brings you back to some clear boundaries about that, about what you join, what you participate in. Aquarius are the networks, the clubs, the organizations. This past weekend, my family and I went camping, and a campground is Aquarius, right? People who like camping show up there. Anything that you participate in, and there's other people. Football, soccer, a sports stadium, Aquarius energies, right? You're all there. You're all rooting for the team. Team sports are Aquarius energies too. So we get the understanding of how we're all connected with Aquarius. We get the understanding of how we're connected, but I'm still my own person. I'm going to wear my own outfit, or I'm going to be my own individual within the collective. And it's a reminder of these dynamics that we participate in and that we're a part of. So this is a time right now of looking at how you're committing to yourself, and I'm feeling like the commitment to humanity, the commitment to the bigger picture of evolution and revolution. Aquarius is also revolutionary energies, where you look at what's not working and you find something else that's better, that fits, that pertains to what's needed. Very creative energy. So we have this moving us forward, and that's supposed to be encouraging for everything that has transpired over the past number of years. On Monday's show, I did a focus on some more astrological specifics about higher octaves, how the personal planets each have higher octaves. Mercury, the higher octave of Mercury is Uranus. The higher octave of Venus is Neptune. The higher octave of Mars is Pluto. So I talk about that in the Monday show, and also about how we're here to move energies forward. And in order to do that, we have to let go of this past decade. And there's the completion of this past decade and everything that maybe you started or you thought would stick or you thought would come up and happen, and it didn't, or it looked differently. The energies were volatile at times. They were uncertain. And a big part of that is because in 2011, Uranus went into Aries, where it stayed, and that began a whole new cycle, and that began an acceleration in people's spiritual awakenings. Uranus is the energy of awakenings, and in Aries, it's been awakening us to who we are. And so here we're ending the decade with Uranus moving into Taurus. So there's a change in the earth, in our resources, and what we value, and how we make money, and how we connect with each other. These are Taurus energies. But it's all based on what you learned about yourself this decade, and how you were able to get up and keep going, how you accessed your inner fighter, you accessed your inner independence. You had to be yourself. You had to do it your way. There were things that came up with this Uranus in Aries energy that was really uncertain and difficult at times. Well, now Uranus moves forward and moves into Taurus, where it will stay for the next 7 years. Now, every time Uranus transits into or out of a sign, something happens globally. When Uranus went into Aries and stayed there, Fukushima happened on that same day. When Uranus went into Taurus last year for the first time, that's when the Kilauea volcano on the Big Island of Hawaii erupted. When Uranus went back into Aries, that's when the wildfires in California happened. A campfire and paradise, it happened on that day, which is fascinating because of Uranus going back into Aries, a fire sign, and it being allegedly started by an electrical company, which is Uranus energies. So Uranus will go into Taurus in March 6th and 7th. We'll see how the Earth responds. We'll see what other unexpected Uranian events unfold. But that's one of the reasons why this past decade has been so big, and it's meant to be setting you free. So you learned a lot this past decade. Again, I talk about this in Monday's show. But now we're moving into new territory, my friends, and we're moving into it with a new sense of self. And we're meant to stay solid in what is true for us, what is true for you, what you know matters, what you know is essential about who you are. Aquarius energy supports this. Aquarius supports it because it connects your energy field to the collective. It says, this is who I am as an individual, and I participate, and I'm here, and I showed up to be in my human suit, and I'm contributing my energy to the energy grid, to the human family. I'm contributing my unique gifts. There's support for being uniquely yourself, right now especially. And this is what's needed, especially in the age of Aquarius. So the age of Aquarius actually lasts 2,000 years, so chances are it's going to last your full lifetime. But it's understanding how we are each needed to be clear in our self-identity, our unique imprint, how we're special, how we're different, and how that's needed to move us forward. And to stay aware of the, I'm going to call it cosmic timing of it all, and how things come together and how things click and connect. So we're getting some energies right now over this next week that are quite dynamic because of how Mars in Aries is going to square Pluto in Capricorn at 21 degrees. Mars in Aries is getting something started. I want this. I'm going to go for this. I'm ready to start. I'm ready to begin. It's very physical. It's energized. It's excited and motivated. And then it comes up to the square with Pluto that says no. And that Pluto energy is powerful. It can be an authority figure. It can be something outside of you that slams on the brakes or shuts down what you're going for. And this can result in anger, frustration, violence, anything that is really disruptive. This energy is exact Friday and Saturday. So be aware of yourself, your body, others, anything where you don't want to experience any kind of bodily harm. Mars is the body, and in Aries, it's very active. So it's a good time to be aware of managing your physical self and to not rush. Even though you might want to rush, it's a sense of don't. Just go slower. Go slower. Hopefully I'm being an optimist, and I'm hoping that things aren't catastrophic because Mars in Aries is the masculine, the desire, the power, the self-assertion, and it can be a violent energy. It can be a bomb, like, for example. It can be something explosive. It can be something that kills. I mean, that's what Pluto does. So it's a really good time to keep sending. I'm seeing the energy go to light. Keep focusing on light around the planet, around the globe, calming egos, calming frustration, calming the anger and what comes up so that it does not escalate. That's important right now over the next week especially. We also have Venus in the last degrees of Sagittarius, and she's going to make a trine to Uranus in Aries. This is quite exciting, dynamic, a last-minute surprise, something fun happening, good news coming through. Wherever Venus is receiving energy from an outer planet, Uranus, it can be transformative. It can be a lucky break. It can be your lottery card is the big winner. It can be something beneficial. So Venus trining Uranus at 28 degrees can be fortuitous. And that's a great energy to focus on. In fact, that might be much more of where you want to go with your energy instead of that Mars pushing it, right? The Mars in Aries will push something forward and initiate and make it happen. This could be a better weekend to stick with Venus and to stay in that place of receptivity and let me see what's fun, let me see what's enjoyable, what do I want to do that's interesting and exciting, and that would be a good way to use this weekend's energy. Then we also have Venus when she gets to 29 degrees of Sagittarius on Sunday. Right before the new moon, she squares Chiron. Chiron's at 29 degrees of Pisces. Okay. So what I'm feeling around this, I know it's like a big energy shift here. The 29 degrees of Pisces is a closing degree. It's the very last degree of the zodiac. It's the completion of a lot of energies. It's a letting go. It's release. And what I'm feeling is that it might be necessary to do a release ritual for Venus squaring Chiron on Sunday at 29 degrees because there is a completion energy here of something in your heart. And the square means there's been, well, I feel like the expectations that haven't been met, what you really wanted and it didn't come through, and letting all that go, letting all that move through you and flush through you. A release ritual is about honoring what was learned, what was healed, what was understood, and letting the rest go. And that can be done however it fits for you, however it feels right. I'm hearing that wherever 29 degrees of Pisces is in your chart is very important, because anytime a planet traverses that degree, it's a release point. And so it could be that you continually do a release ritual when a planet hits 29 degrees of Pisces to honor the cycle that's ending, to honor the wisdom that was gained, and then to release anything to Spirit, Source, God, the universe, and your higher self, so that you no longer carry it, especially in your heart, especially in your being or in your mind. You know, we can spin in things for a long time, and it can just wear us out. And if you're spinning in anything, if your heart hasn't felt peace, this is a big energy of trusting the bigger picture. Again, it goes back to how God, the universe, Source, Spirit, is much more creative than we are and can make things come about in ways we could never imagine. And there's a deep trusting energy with Sagittarius and Pisces. And it's, what do you believe in? What do you believe is possible? What do you trust in that's bigger than you? And so this could be your spirituality or just your philosophy on life. But what do you believe in that's bigger than you? And this is when you apply it. This is when you say, okay, this didn't happen, or I'm upset about this, or I don't want to carry something anymore. I don't want to carry this in my heart. Please take it away. I surrender. You allow it to move out. And this is the point that sets you free and returns you to that place of deeper belief and trust in possibilities. And, you know, faith, hope, trust, belief, these are things we have to practice. And they can be the hardest things we have to practice, because there's times that it can feel easy to give up or give in, or this isn't going to happen, or you let it go before it can manifest. I feel like what we're supposed to understand is how, oh my gosh, this is beautiful. Every time you come back to Source, Spirit, God, the universe, every time you come back to that table and you sit down with your angels, with God, with the universe, they simply say, welcome back. I'm so glad you're back. Please let me help you. I'm happy to assist you. It's a reminder how we're not ever alone, and yet we have to choose it. We have to choose to come back to that conversation or that table. You have to come back and sit back at the table and say, okay, universe, this is where I'm at. I need help letting this go. I need help with the support. I need help with what's next. And that help shows up in unbelievable ways, truly. So there's an energy here of the more courageous you are. That's also the Aries energy. The more courageous you are in yourself, in the truth of who you are, you will feel a new energy of support to move forward and say, okay, that was one version that I thought would manifest, or that was just one version. Sure, there's, 485,000 versions. And that can blow your mind right open and say, I didn't realize all the different versions that were possible, and now I want to step into what I didn't see before. So this is, again, going to the openings. And this new moon on Monday is definitely an opening of how you've thought about your life, how you've thought about where you're going, of what's possible, And the universe is saying, can you think differently? Can you think higher? Can you think broader? Can you see it from up here, the observer? Aquarius is an observer. And understand it in a new way. Because if you can do that, then that's how we're going to energize this next phase and this next start. So there's a lot here that's moving us forward. I feel like I've said that a lot in this show, but it's really time. It really is. And you have to let something else go, but you have to participate with your intention and your actions in this new version, in this new phase. Which is why that Venus squaring Chiron of letting it go, letting it out of your heart, crying, releasing, being honest with how you feel will move you forward. Otherwise, it will just ultimately hold you back on some levels. So Aquarius energy follows Capricorn, right? So we have the two planets in Capricorn, Saturn and Pluto, that are keeping our attention on what doesn't work anymore. That's what Pluto does. It destroys. It takes things apart. So it dismantles, destroys, and basically kills what is no longer needed and what doesn't benefit all, what doesn't serve many. Pluto's about power. If only a few have power, that only lasts so long. So Pluto then comes through and really takes apart the power structures that are outdated or have expired. And so we can apply this to business, corporations, governments, institutions. I look at retail, the retail business, and how that's changed dramatically in the past 10 years, especially with the internet. All the stores, the retailers going bankrupt, the empty stores in malls, how we no longer have to go to a store to buy something. We can just go online, except jeans, right? You're a risk taker if you buy jeans online because sometimes you got to try those puppies on and you don't want to make a mistake. So there's some things we still need stores for, jeans, swimsuits, maybe shoes, but think of all the things we can buy online that it's literally takes you 2 minutes. Click, 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 and that's it. You don't have to invest in an hour to go to the mall or to a store. So the way that we do business has been changing. And it's going to continue to change because the Aquarian energies are connecting us directly to each other through technology, through the internet, through our phones. We don't have to go through the middleman. We don't have to go through the store. We just go right to the source. So the Aquarian energies speed things up. So as business changes, as governments change, as things come apart, we find these new solutions that are more direct. And they connect us to each other. We have to then bring in new solutions. Aquarius is people management and managing many people, groups, online sales, online anything, online activities, all Aquarian energies. So as businesses change, we look for new ways to manage what we can do and how we can interact with each other, make sales, buy things. It's all moving. It's all shifting. Good and bad with that, right? I mean, good and bad because it's still important to get to be with people in person, to have the community interactions, to go to physical places and be around people. We can't all be hiding away in our houses, on our phones, on our computers. We need each other in person. So it's an interesting shift where we're moving to how can we interact with people as a lot of what we've relied on in our life, these structures are changing. And that means there's going to be new things that come in, new things that take their place, and new ways of connecting with each other, which is also Aquarius. So we're living in a very interesting time, and we're meant to see the new solutions and opportunities that are available, especially with the new technologies And technologies will continue to evolve and change, and there'll be brand new technologies that will be coming up as we move into the next decade. I mean, that's quite clear. That's how technology evolves, as we find brand new things that work, that stick, that people respond to. And that's also this age of Aquarius, where we make some quantum leaps. We move forward in powerful ways. And what's important to keep in mind is how these changes ultimately trickle down and affect each of us at some level. It affects how you spend your money. It affects how you make money. It affects your resources. It affects what you do in a day, your daily life. Perhaps it affects your family, your kids. I mean, all of this stuff reshapes our lives. And that's what the Aquarian energies do on some level, is that they change how we experience life. So with the Sun and Mercury in Aquarius, we're getting some new ways of looking at these solutions, at understanding what's happening in our lives, at what is important, at where we want to participate, where we want to contribute, and then also where we're on the receiving end of some things too, of these big changes. So clearly it's a dynamic time, a lot moving forward. You're meant to move forward, my friend. You're meant to stay on this new path of who you are now, and to continue to flush out and release what has transpired over the past decade as some new, I'm feeling like these new cosmic downloads and solutions come in and come through that show us new versions of our lives, new possibilities. So I mean this too at an individual level. I don't just mean like out there, outside of you. I mean within you. I mean looking at what you want in your life, where you want to go, what's exciting to you, what has meaning, what is true for you, and to give those potentials and possibilities energy. So it's quite a dynamic time as we move from January into February, and we move ahead into, I'm going to call it the assignment of this year, of what you're really building and how it matters and how it's possible now in a way that perhaps it wasn't possible before. On YouTube, I have a video for you on the new moon in Aquarius, so please check that out. Remember, you can join the weekly astrology transits class whenever it works for you. All replays are available. And I hope, too, that you can sign up for the weekly astrology updates I send out via email. You'll find that below this podcast video as well.